Have you ever wondered what truly made Michael Landon, the man who embodied the iconic role of Charles Ingalls and shaped the beloved series Little House on the Prairie, abruptly leave the show to which he had dedicated so much? Millions of viewers worldwide loved the story of the Ingalls family, and many have puzzled over Landon's pivotal decision. Was it due to internal conflict, financial issues, or a deeper reason? Let's uncover the truth behind the unexpected departure of one of the most beloved television figures of all time. The resounding success of Little House on the Prairie. Can you imagine a television series set against the backdrop of pioneers' arduous lives on vast prairies, devoid of glitz or sensationalism, yet managing to capture millions of hearts and become a cultural phenomenon lasting nearly a decade? That is the story of Little House on the Prairie. The show's success wasn't just about impressive ratings. It permeated countless memories, shaping an entire generation of viewers. From its debut in 1974, Little House on the Prairie quickly won public affection. At a time when American television was saturated with comedic sitcoms and action-packed police dramas, the arrival of a warm, humanistic family show like Little House felt like a breath of fresh air. Audiences found peace, enduring moral values, and above all, the image of a resilient family loving each other through every challenge. Little House was more than just a pastoral fairy tale. It deeply explored social, economic, and human issues within the context of a developing America. From famine, disease, and natural disasters to racial conflict, discrimination, and financial hardships, the show wasn't afraid to touch on the thorny aspects of life. Notably, all these elements were portrayed subtly and humanely through the lens of the Ingalls family and the Walnut Grove community. This made the show not only entertaining, but also profoundly educational, making it a top choice for families watching with their children. But how could such a historical and family-centric show maintain its appeal over many seasons? The secret lay with the people who created it, especially Michael Landon. Serving not only as the lead actor, Charles Ingalls, but also as an executive producer, director, and writer for numerous episodes, Landon was the soul of Little House. He breathed life into every character, every frame, transforming ordinary daily stories into vivid and meaningful narratives. Landon's masterful storytelling kept audiences captivated, making them unable to tear their eyes away from the screen each week as they followed the Ingalls family's journey. The authenticity and affection Landon and the crew poured into the show were undeniable. Every character, major or minor, had depth and left a strong impression. From Caroline's, Karen Grassle, gentleness and patience, Laura's, Melissa Gilbert, stubborn yet endearing charm, to Charles's quiet but loving nature, all combined to create a perfect family portrait that anyone would aspire to. Moreover, the series garnered countless prestigious awards, including numerous Emmy nominations and wins, affirming its artistic quality and influence. Little House on the Prairie was successful not only in the US, but also spread worldwide, translated into many languages and broadcast in dozens of countries, becoming a part of the childhood of millions globally. The power of Little House on the Prairie lies in its ability to connect emotionally, transcending cultural and temporal barriers. It reminds us of the importance of family, love, perseverance, and faith in life. And this resounding success is precisely one of the factors that makes Michael Landon's decision to leave more remarkable than ever. What could possibly make a man abandon an empire he meticulously built himself? The real reason Michael Landon left Little House on the Prairie. So, what really happened? What could compel Michael Landon, at the peak of his career with such a successful series, to decide to abandon his brainchild? This wasn't a sudden decision or due to the minor conflicts often seen behind the scenes in Hollywood. Instead, it was the result of careful consideration, stemming from an intense artistic desire and the far-sighted vision of a true artist. You might think Landon left due to financial disputes or declining health, But the reality was completely different. At that time, he was still at the top of his game, both physically and creatively. Although the work pressure was immense, imagine simultaneously starring, directing, producing, and even co-writing hundreds of episodes. Landon was naturally a workhorse, always full of energy. So, what was the hidden reason? The primary and most crucial reason was his intense desire for innovation and continuous self-challenge in the creative field. Michael Landon was not one to rest on his laurels. He was a true artist, always seeking new stories to tell, new messages to convey. After nearly a decade with the Ingalls family, he felt he had given everything he could to the story of life in Walnut Grove. Consider it: 9 seasons, hundreds of episodes, thousands of hours on screen. Landon had explored almost every facet of pioneer life, from joy to sorrow, from loss to small victories. He delved deep into family relationships, friendships, and core human values. At a certain point, an artist feels the need to find new inspiration, new ground to cultivate unexplored ideas. He wanted to avoid being typecast as Charles Ingalls and break free from the overwhelming shadow of Little House. This decision wasn't an abandonment, but an evolution. Landon realized that to continue growing as a storyteller, he needed to embrace new challenges, explore different genres, and work with new casts. He didn't want his show to become boring or repetitive simply by trying to prolong it unnecessarily. The philosophy of a natural ending. Another key factor in Landon's decision was his belief in the natural conclusion of a story. Unlike many TV series that try to extend indefinitely as long as the ratings hold, Landon had a very clear viewpoint. Every story has a beginning, a climax, and a logical end. He felt that the Ingalls family's story, especially Laura's journey to adulthood and her sisters starting their own lives, had reached a satisfying conclusion. Landon didn't want to milk the content just to keep the show going. He wanted Little House on the Prairie to end meaningfully, leaving a beautiful impression on viewers rather than becoming a pale shadow of itself. He believed that ending the story while it was still strong would preserve the show's value and legacy in the minds of the audience. This was a courageous decision, as not many producers dare to abandon a well-oiled, money-making machine. While not the primary reason, the immense workload pressure undeniably influenced Landon's decision to some extent. As mentioned, he was practically a man of all trades on set. From waking up early to be on set as an actor, to staying late in the editing room to ensure quality, everything rested on Landon's shoulders. Can you imagine the physical and mental exhaustion of juggling so many crucial roles for an entire decade? Even someone as energetic as Landon needed time to recharge, spend time with his family, and pursue personal interests. Leaving Little House was also a way for him to find balance, if only for a short while, before diving into his next project. Immediately after Little House on the Prairie concluded, Landon quickly embarked on a completely different new project, Highway to Heaven. This is the clearest proof of his reasons for leaving. This show not only had a different setting and theme, but also allowed Landon to explore new facets of his directing and acting skills. He continued to deliver profound humanistic messages, but with a fresh approach, confirming that his decision to part ways with Little House was a deliberate step to open a new, promising chapter in his illustrious career. The end was not the end. When news broke that Michael Landon was leaving Little House on the Prairie and the show would conclude, audience reactions were a mix of surprise, sadness, and even a touch of disappointment. How could a show that had become an icon of family and good values possibly end? For many, Charles Ingalls was more than just a character. He was an ideal father figure, a devoted husband, and the embodiment of a resilient spirit. His absence, even if only on screen, left a large void. The other cast members who had built the Ingalls family alongside Landon also had mixed emotions. They understood Landon's vision and the necessity of a logical ending, but saying goodbye to a project they had been devoted to for years was undoubtedly difficult. Melissa Gilbert, Laura Ingalls, who had grown up on set under Landon's guidance, must have felt a profound change. The relationship between Landon and the cast was not just professional but familial, nurtured over countless hours of working together. However, surprisingly, even without Landon in the lead role, Little House managed to continue for one more season under the title Little House, A New Beginning. This season focused more on the adult lives of Laura and Almanzo, as well as other characters. While there were still memorable moments, it's undeniable that the absence of the father, Landon, caused the show to lose a part of its inherent soul. Ratings began to decline, and it was clear that audiences were accustomed to Landon being the center of every story. This further proved his irreplaceable importance to the series. Finally, after 9 official seasons and 3 special episodes, Little House on the Prairie concluded in 1984. But that was not the end of its legacy. On the contrary, its purposeful ending helped the show maintain its value and influence for decades. It wasn't dragged out to the point of exhausting its ideas. Instead, it preserved its image as a timeless classic. The legacy of Little House on the Prairie is immense. It's not just an entertainment program, but a history lesson, a source of inspiration about family spirit, perseverance, and faith. The show introduced millions to the lives of pioneers, the hardships they faced, and how they built a community based on love and mutual support. To this day, Little House is still frequently re-aired worldwide, attracting new generations of viewers. As for Michael Landon, his decision to leave Little House opened a new, successful chapter in his career. Immediately afterward, he created and starred in the series Highway to Heaven, which quickly became another big hit. Highway to Heaven continued to showcase Landon's storytelling talent, focusing on moral issues, compassion, and hope, but with a modern setting and more independent storylines. The success of Highway to Heaven not only affirmed Landon's correct vision, but also proved his ability to create deeply moving television works, extending beyond the shadow of Little House. Landon's departure from Little House was not an abandonment, but a necessary leap for his own artistic development. It allowed him to explore new facets of himself, experiment with unprecedented ideas, and continue to bring meaningful stories to audiences. Michael Landon's legacy is not confined to his role as Charles Ingalls, but extends across the works he produced, directed, and wrote, all bearing his strong humanistic imprint and masterful storytelling ability. He left an irreplaceable void in the hearts of Little House fans, but at the same time, he also opened the door for new successes, firmly establishing his position as one of the most influential filmmakers in television history. Though Charles Ingalls no longer appeared on Walnut Grove's small screen, the legacy of Michael Landon and Little House on the Prairie endures, living on in our memories. The show is not just an entertainment production, but a symbol of family love, resilience, and timeless human values. Do you agree that Michael Landon's decision was the right one to keep Little House a classic? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to follow our channel so you don't miss out on other interesting stories about the world of cinema.